I was married 12 years, but just jump back a little bit. I was with that same person since I was maybe 24-ish. So total
Wow.
of like 17 years that I was with him.
Wow, that's a long time. So you don't hear about that marriages or relationships lasting that long. So if you don't mind, what happened with that? I mean, after all that time.
Well, to be honest, it was well, one of the things that you're passionate about, finances, feeling like there was a disconnect, like as you grow from your 20s to your 30s and then into your 40s, you become a different person and you evolve. And the right way, it should be both parties evolve. But if you're nearing 40 and your partner is still 20, then that's a big disconnect. So I just didn't want to operate my life like, we were still 20 somethings with no kids. It was, no vision, no real plan for the future. And then a lot of people always say, this sounds crazy, but I felt like he just did not know me and did not love me. He loved the
Wow.
thought of having a wife. He loved the thought of having a wife, but he did not love Tamara. So I just felt like if he came home from work, if any woman was in the kitchen cooking, it would have been, it would have been well.
Wow. That's so powerful. That's deep right there. I never really heard it said that well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that's how I felt.
That was
Yeah.
so deep. Wow. Oh,
So
I mean, it really
see,
was. It really was,
yes,
because I think, like you said, we like the idea sometime of getting married, but it's
mm-hmm,
very important that you want to be married to that person. You see what I'm
true.
saying? That's
Mm-hmm.
so powerful. Like, marriage itself comes along with a few things that we may like, but do you want to wake up and be in this marriage with this person like every single day, like you said?
Every single day. So that was my biggest thing was I knew that the person that I was, he really didn't see me. Like he didn't see those inner qualities. It was, oh yeah, she cooked, she keep the house clean, and she take care of our kids. But it wasn't about, after being with somebody 15, 17 years, if somebody says, well, who is your wife or who is your husband, you should be able to pull better than, oh, she's a good cook, or oh, he's a provider. You should be able to talk about the core of that person, the heart of that person. And that wasn't there.
Wow. Okay, you mentioned something about financial literacy. So what
Mhm.
role did that play, maybe in the marriage?
Well, this was a constant struggle for us. I think that we both grew up with poor financial literacy, seeing it done poorly from our families, and we took on those traits. And I was trying to do everything, like as far as, okay, let's get a calendar and let's say, this pay period, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and try to have some type of budget or some kind of flow. It never worked. It never worked. And it was like I was working, he was working. We never had, we always were just against the eight ball. And I think it had to do with we didn't speak the same languages as far as, different things were concerned. I felt like, I don't know. I think that he didn't really he didn't really look at what tomorrow was. Like when you have kids, anything can happen as far as somebody could get hurt or somebody might have to go to the book fair or something like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he didn't think about those things.
Well, I just was saying that earlier to a young lady, and I was saying when you have children, but to me, when you get married based on what you guys have been to each other so far, and
Yeah,
the way you make each other feel so far. But what you're not thinking about is now that we're married, your stress is my stress is your stress, and we got to be able to still be there for one another with dealing with that. Girlfriend
that's
and
true.
boyfriend, girlfriend and boyfriend. It's like, I can call you, hey, listen, not right now, bad time. But you don't really got that when you come home. And then with the kids, you know, you got the day-to-day stuff going on, right? But now you thinking y'all about to go to dinner tonight, and Rudy over here, you know, got to go to the ER because she got a toothache. So now we sitting in the ER, and last I checked, children medical bills aren't exactly free.
No,
right? So that's
no.
time, that's money, you know, that's just that. So you got to be ready for that. So you have to think
Yeah,
about it.
you do. You have to think about it. And I think that as like as parents, you evolve and you start, you start thinking about, first they're, in diapers. Then it's like, oh, now they're in high school. Now they're about to go to college. So some of the things that I wish that we could have done as a couple to kind of prepare our children for success, we just were unable to do because we couldn't get on one accord.
Right. That's so powerful. Yeah, for me, I've never been married. I don't have any children. And the reason for that, at least early on, was I said, man, well, you know, I knew how I was raised. And I knew how I wanted to raise my children. And as much as I wanted them, and as much as I felt like I was going to love them the proper way, I said, you know, marriage and children, I feel like you need to have the right system. They always say, you know, it takes a village to raise a child. So I'm like, man, if I can't afford a nanny, if I can't afford a maid, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that, because for me, a relationship, it has to be fun. You know, like
Yeah.
I need them trips, right? I need them vacations they call them, right? I need them
Them
vacations, and
vacations, yeah.
I need them vacations, and I need them random date nights. You know what I'm saying? I need to,
Yeah.
hey, pack your bags. You know, where we going? What about the kids? Well, the maid on the way. You know, we plane waiting. We out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it ends up being more stress and more of a job than it is really fun and growing and learning each other. And, you know, and so me, I wanted to prepare myself to be a husband before
Oh
I
yeah.
actually put myself in that position, because we know what to expect, but it's like you got to worry about the unexpected as well.
That's
You
true
know
too. And like you said, prepare yourself to be a husband. I don't think that a lot of men even think of that simple phrase that you said. I think, a woman may say prepare herself to be a wife and a mother, but I don't think a lot of men prepare themselves to be fathers and to be husbands. It's just like, hey, it's just like an extension of a boyfriend when it's really not, you know?
Right. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So would
Yeah.
you say, you know, do you think you were raised to be a wife, or do you think you were raised to be more independent, or I would say to serve a man, or to be like independent and maybe work with him? Like, what do you think?
Well, I always tell people that I was a wife before I was a wife.
Okay.
I just looked at the components of what a wife was. A wife is still a provider, even if she's not working outside of the home, but she's a provider, she's a nurturer. A wife can sew buttons, teach math, cook, and she can do all
Right.
kinds
Right.
of things. So as how I grew up the oldest of three. My parents divorced fairly early in my life. So became like a second mother to my brothers. So taking care of kids, taking care of a home, making nothing into something, I knew how to do that. I just
Right.
knew how to do that. But I never really thought about would I ever be a wife? I knew I was walking, like a wife, but I didn't think I would be a wife. But I was also raised to be very independent. So, because I
Right.
saw my mother have to, leave this marriage and pick up three kids and do what she had to do to make it happen for us. So I saw that too. So I saw that strong Black woman, but I also saw marriages around me. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's for me, I
Okay.
think it's a little bit of both.
So let me ask you this. One of the things, you know, like I said, I have two sisters, and I've been answering their questions, and they still call with stuff day to day, especially dating now. And one of the things they seem to miss is just really uh, finding out stuff early, you know, with men. So, like, do you feel like, I know you say your husband, a lot of things, you know, with your ex-husband, you know, you kind of found out later down the line. Do you feel like you asked some of these questions early on, or did you kind of find out as as you guys kind of went through it?
Well, I think that for women, it depends on what level you're at. Like when you're in your 20s, some of the things that you need to ask, you just don't know to ask. You don't really know to ask. You don't know to ask somebody how they handle money and how they pay bills and what's their philosophy on how we should raise our children. And you just don't know. You just don't know. So I didn't ask too many questions. Like, in all honesty, it was like, you like me, I like you, you cute.
All right, let's do this. Let's do this.
Like, you cute, and that's it. Like, nothing. But then, like, that's why I say there was the breakdown in the marriage, because now you go from 20s and you have all that development, then you go into your 30s and you're thinking, okay, we could sit down at the table and we can talk about some of those things that we didn't talk about.
Right,
And now
right.
you still fail to address some of those things, or because you've been in this relationship 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and they're like, well, why you want to change now? Why you want to get a joint bank
Right.
account now? You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
So
right.
then you fast forward and then you feel like, okay, I got other things to worry about. For me, it was just making sure that my kids were good, my family was good. And it was like, no need to really even argue or try to fuss about those little things. Just, we just try to patch it together. So I would say now, as I date, if I really feel that it's a serious relationship, then yeah, some we're going to talk about religion. We're going to talk about, your views on children, your views on marriage, all kinds of different things. But women just sometimes you just don't know. So I would say that conversations like this could prepare women in their 20s and 30s to ask the right questions. But sometimes, a lot of women my age, we just didn't know, we
Right.
didn't know.
I want to say comment on something that you said. You said that if it's a serious relationship, you ask those questions. Well, I would like to point out, I think for me, it ain't gonna turn into a serious relationship if you give me the wrong answer, to them questions. So I had to stop you on that, because you gotta ask. You gotta ask. Like, it ain't even gonna be serious
But
if you
how
can't give me the right answer.
do you think that if you met the right, or you felt she was the right woman, if she gave you maybe what you deem as the wrong answer, do you think that you and her could come to the table and try to figure it out though? Like
Well, that's a fair question. To me, I would have to ask you this: what am I basing, her being the right woman? What am I basing that off of? You know what I'm
maybe
saying? Like,
you're based for one, it could be attraction, but maybe she's hitting now we have this long laundry list of the things that we desire. Maybe she's hitting a lot of those points, but um maybe there's something that you guys don't see eye on. Do you think that you could still have that conversation to try to further the relationship?
yeah, absolutely. I don't want you going around telling people I'm cutting people off, within, just because they answer the question the wrong way. That's not, I will say this. There's some things I think you can teach, and there's certain things I don't think you can teach.
That's true.
And there's certain things I'm not going to teach, right?
That's true.
Certain things I'm gonna just need you to have. Again, when I talk with some women, they tend to fall for that potential a lot of the times. He seems like he has the potential to be
A great
a good man,
man.
a great
Mhm.
man, right? And the thing is, if he has greatness in him, he's gonna already be a great man, or he's gonna be close to it, right?
That's
Because he's
true.
gonna do that. He's gonna do that for him,
That's
right?
true. And it's not about a woman.
It's this thing called ego and pride, right? When you look in that mirror, you got to like the man that you see, with or without a woman. So if you got to convince him, baby, you need to go back to school, or you need to do this, do that. Well, think about what you're doing. You're trying to convince somebody who obviously don't see this as an important thing in their life. How you gonna lead? If you ever thought about leading, you should have been thinking about this. How you gonna lead anything if you don't have your life together? And that's what I try to put out all the time. I can tell you as a man, let me just be honest with you. If I ain't got my life together, there's no way there's no way I can seriously think about me and you. Because
Yeah.
when we think about marriage and we think about children, it's one word, and that's responsibility.
That's
And
true.
when you don't got your life together, that's the last thing you trying to hear or look for is responsibility. I'm not trying to be responsible for somebody else, and I don't even know how I'm eating tonight.
But there's a lot of men that do it. And what happens is, I feel like they put the burden on the woman. The woman takes on so much more than she should. So now she's worrying about how everybody gonna eat tonight, her, him, and the kids. And I'll be honest, I'll never want to have to do that again.
Absolutely, absolutely,
I did, and I
absolutely.
did that, and I did that. In my marriage, like some people, I for me it was a part of my life. Hey, it was a learning experience. But the one thing about him was I knew that I brought two kids on this earth. So I knew that I was responsible to them. So having a job and making sure that I secured that job, that was, you know, that was precedent to me. This man would get fired like it wasn't nothing. Like, I mean, the countless times during that 17-year span, I can't even tell you how many times that all the weight was on my shoulders. And that does something to a woman because now I wanted to let you lead and I wanted to respect you as a man. But if I know that you constantly get yourself in situations that now we don't know how we're going to pay our bills, we don't know how we're going to feed our kids, and you're just like kind of, like, and I won't tell anybody any lie. Being single for the last 4 years and moving from South Carolina here to Charlotte, it's much more expensive. Yes, yes, yes. But I don't have that constant, oh my God, what is going to happen, tomorrow? Like before, I was in a constant, I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, yeah, this week the bills are paid. Tomorrow he can walk in and say, oh, my boss said this, so I cussed them out, or it would be stupid stuff. And that was a lot of the deterioration of the marriage. So when I got divorced or when I got separated, a lot of people were very confused because I'm the type of person that don't wear my emotions on my sleeves. So he could just walk in and say, hey, I got fired and the bills could be due, and the kids need this for school, and I'll just thug it out. But after years and years of that, you get hardened and you feel like I could do this by myself. So
Right.
that's my stance. Yeah. So yeah.
Absolutely. You mentioned about being in Charlotte now and dating. So how's that been going?
Well, what I will tell you is, and I told you this on the phone, men, as they near, I'm 45, and men in
Stop
my
it, Earl.
age,
45? Better stop, Earl. You ain't no 45. You better
46,
stop.
46 in May.
Okay. Oh man. I'm
Yes.
sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I had to throw that in there. Go
But yes,
ahead.
I am 45, knocking on 46 door in May. And I just thought that men in my age category would be thinking of the future and thinking of, building. Mm-mm. They nothing but games. They are like strictly games. And it's sad for me to say it, but I never dated outside of African American. But recently, an African man who don't need a green card,
Okay. Okay.
he started, he started coming on to me or whatever. And when I tell you the experience has been so different, I'm talking about a man who's like what restaurant you want to go to, what time, and being consistent and saying, when can I take you out again? And he's been consistent week after week after week. And when
Uh,
I'm like, oh, Africa.
okay, okay, okay,
I'm like, oh,
okay.
Africa. And my African American friends that I have met along the way, they like, oh, what's up tomorrow? I'm going to the club. And I'm like, oh, and I'm
Wow.
for real. I'm for real. So it's just like some of them, you know, I've met them along the way. We maybe dated here and there. And then I was just like, that's nothing for me to build my hopes on. So, you know, then it just becomes a text game. And I'm like, boy, leave me alone.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I totally get that. I think, I think it's the upbringing possibly, the African versus African Americans. Even for me growing up, 12, 13, Pops is like, hey, you gotta coming over, I'm like, yeah, coming over, Pop. Yeah, go, all right, we're gonna step in the back. Y'all go on in the room, you know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah.
promoting, the wrong things early. And I think
Or,
just certain races or religions or whatever, they just prioritize certain things. And
yes.
I think that's what it is. I think I always say, you don't want to get caught up into trying to build or change the man. He is who he is,
He
and if he's seen a problem with it, he would have been trying to change it
to change
by
it.
now. So you definitely want to get a man where he been raised. That's all he know. That's all he
Yeah.
know is to be like this, because he may change for a week or two, but then he may go right back to who he originally was, and then now you got to keep dealing with that. So
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah. Yeah, and
absolutely,
that has been my my thing. Like as far as dating, it's definitely hard for women as you get older. But if you're a woman who doesn't know how to put yourself out there, then it's even harder for you. And then what we have to work with, it's bad. I'm
yeah.
telling you, it's bad out here. I never in a million years thought men in their 40s and 50s would be going to the club 5 days a week. And, you
Mm,
know, I mean, for real. So a lot of the men who I started to maybe date just turned into like friends because I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my time with that. Like
right.
we can be friends, and that's all we can be. Because I'm like, for one, all you want to do is, oh, can I come over your place? Or you no,
Right.
I want somebody to be like, what do you want to do? Let's get dressed. I'm just
Right.
like, I'm at that place where my kids are older. I don't have to get no babysitter.
Right. 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 Wow.
I want to live it up. I don't gotta come home tonight. You know what
Right. Right.
I'm
Absolutely.
saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's definitely understandable. I just feel like it's sad, like you say, that men are getting older, and you would think that they'll get it.
Yeah.
You would think that they'll get it. So
Mm-mm.
does that, not that you have any regrets. I just want to see, like, when you left your marriage, did you feel like it's gonna be better out there, or are you still dealing with kind of some of the same? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, you know what? When I left my marriage, I'll be honest, I really wasn't like thinking like dating wasn't like at the top of my to-do list.
right,
But as I got here and started working, and I was like, it's a possibility, but it was just like, now that you're in your 40s, you don't even know how to date, like, because you don't even know how to date. Because when I dated back in the day, you met people in school, you met people at the mall. It was more of a culture where it was just organic.
right,
And I'll
right,
tell anybody, men, and especially, I'll say this, men of the South, men of the South back in the day, they knew how to date a woman, okay? Young men, they knew how to date, whether you was going to Shoney's or you was going to the movies, or they knew how to court a woman. That's how, but now it's like
right.
courting culture is just like, it's not here. And my thing is, I'm just like, and I've said this on many occasions to myself and to, other family members and girlfriends. I think the men that are my age that were courting and were great boyfriends back in the day, they all must be married. They all must be married. They all got to be married because they're not around no more. Like, and I think, and I don't know, I think that a lot of social media and different things in the way of the world really has an impact on dating, because I think that men, and it doesn't matter the age, I mean, I think it's more of the mentality. They think, I don't know, they treat women like you're a problem, like you want something from them, like, and sometimes a woman just wants your time, your attention. She don't want nothing from you. And matter of fact, I was having this conversation last night, and it was just like, why do like Black men say that, Black women are hard to get along with, when it comes to dating and stuff like that. And I said, I think because it doesn't even matter how much money a woman makes nowadays. If she's taking care of herself, we put that armor on, like, I don't need your bull crap. I don't need your bull crap. I can do bad by myself. I can take care of me by myself. And it puts up this wall between us that really doesn't need to be there. But yeah, I can go on and on.
Yeah. I just I'm gonna ask you one question before I forget, and I'm gonna speak on what you just said.
Okay.
I want to ask you what you mean when you say how to properly put yourself out there, as a woman in terms of dating, because I don't think a lot of women know how to do that. But I want you to answer that in a second. I want to speak on what you just said. Because I am a man, and I'm definitely out here. It's a little different. I think, like you said, social media. And I think with the music as well, like it seems to be real popular now, where the girls they want a certain lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And before I even try to point the finger at them, let me say this: I think women are just tired of being hurt, right? I think they've tried to love things so many times that and it hasn't worked. And so when a guy comes in now, she like, you know what? I done tried that love thing, boo-boo. That's how I got this baby over here. That's how I got these 2 kids over here, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm not falling for that anymore. That didn't work out well for me. You know what I'm saying? I gave my time, my energy, my body. You know what I'm saying? I committed, and I got nothing back in return. So now I'm more like, you know what? What can you do for me? You know what I'm saying? What can you do for me? Because if you pay my rent, you can't take that back. You can't take that back. I got real value. I got real value out of this situation. You know what I'm saying? I don't got to worry about, well, he may marry me, he may not, he may be consistent, he may not. So it's like, give me something that I know for a fact that belongs to me, and then maybe I can come forward a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's currently what's going on. And guys are seeing that. And guys are like, well, shoot, if I got money, you know what I'm saying, then I don't got to do, you know what I'm saying, as much. Because this girl over here is willing to do what you willing to do, and all I gotta do is pay the rent. You see what I'm saying? But when I come over here, I still gotta spend that money because we gotta go out on dates. I still gotta be consistent and stuff. And then you gonna kind of decide if you want to put yourself out there like that. But the girl over here, you know what I'm saying? If I pay that rent, I'm gonna get treated right. I'm gonna get treated right. So I think right now is just like, yeah, there you go. So it's just like, as a guy, it's like, if I gotta spend the money either way, I'm gonna spend it over him versus having to spend it over there. And I think that's what's happening right now when it comes to dating. Girls like, I can't get a guy to be consistent. He don't want to, take me out. You know what I'm saying? Well, because he don't know, just like you don't know, because let's be honest, early on, you on the fence. You on the fence, and he like, okay, well, I'm on the fence too, but I still gotta be consistent. I still gotta, spend my money to take you out and stuff like that. So, and you may decide after the fourth, fifth date, you know, this ain't working for me. I'm good. Well, I can't get my money back. I
Yeah.
can't get my time back. And the other kicker is, even though y'all dating, and he should be able to date whoever he wants to date, because y'all just dating, right? Well, you know, like I know, if she find out you dating somebody like you dating her, that's gonna be a problem. So it's just like,
Yeah.
well, I got all my eggs in this basket, and I don't really know where this thing is going. She's in complete control of this thing right now. So I think there's a couple of different things that's going on
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And you made some perfect points, but you made me think of something when you were talking. I dated this guy a couple, maybe about 2 years ago, and it was so funny because one day he said to me, he said, "You don't never ask me for anything." And I was like, "What you mean?" He was like, "You never ask me about money. You never tell me about your bills." And I was like, "Well, for one, they mine, you know." And I was just like, it was weird, but he didn't feel satisfied until I started asking him for money. Like he wanted, but I think it was more like a dependency thing. Like, I want you to be dependent on me. I want you to ask me for money. But that was just so weird. I never had that happen before, where a man would say, "You never ask me for anything. You never tell me about your bills." So then I started just telling him about my bills.
Oh yeah, I know that's right. Hey, you know, as men, you know, we want to feel like men, and for every man is different. And if he has money and it makes him feel good to be able to pay your bills, and that's what he wants to do. If maybe he's a protector and he likes taking up for you, or you know, whatever, it just depends. But he definitely going to want to feel like a man. And most men feel good when they can provide and do certain things, you know, for you, you know. So I think that's kind of probably what it was. But it also speaks to, he has some experience where that's what he was used to. You know,
Yeah, yeah, that was.
he was used to paying a little bit of, you know, a couple of bills and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that he was aggravating, so I moved on.
Oh my goodness. Well, let me ask you this, you know, because I talk with my mom a lot. You know, she's a little older than you, but she's extremely confident, extremely gorgeous. Been married twice before, and she's. I don't feel like sometimes women they don't look long term, right? And for mom right now, she's just living, and everything is great. But what I'm concerned about is in 20 years, you know, like say for instance, when you was 21, what you wanted at 21 is not the same thing you want at 30,
That's
right?
true.
So, and
Hmm.
you may look back and say, man, I can't believe I dated him. I can't believe I fell for that, right? But that was your mindset at the time. And the
Yeah,
same way your mindset is one place now, is going to be in a different place in 10, 20 years from now. So
yeah.
what I try to get women to see is, you're here now, but you need to be looking for a man that has certain qualities for later, right? Because, you know, as men, you know, we got a little bit more leniency when it comes to getting married and the time frame and stuff like that. You know, with women, it's a little bit more of a clock. So
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
have all
definitely.
you don't have all day, you know, to
Hmm.
be waiting. So yeah, that I just wanted to put that out there because, you know, you're not going to get everything. But what I try to tell my mom and my sister is three things that you know now and later you're going to want, you're going to need, you're going to just have to have. Because it seems like as they get older, the expectations kind of drop. Because you out there
Hmm.
now and you're realizing like, dang, I wanted all that, man, but it don't like I'm gonna get all that. So you know what? Just give me this, right?
Yeah, that's
You,
true.
you, you know what I'm saying? So find those three things that you're looking for and that you just gotta have, and then kind of work with the rest because uh sometimes when you don't want to accept those three things, you end up with nothing because you're trying to get everything. So it's like find those three things. Like a lot of women say, well, I don't want to work and pay significant bills once I'm married with children. That's a common one that I hear, right? And if you think about that, like significant bills, that's why mom said, well, what percentage of the bills would you want to be responsible for? You know what I'm saying? You know, as you get married and get older or whatever. And she just like, well, 50%. Well, 50% means y'all like 50-50. So that means you're gonna be working for a long time. And I don't think you're gonna want to be working paying significant bills as you get up in age. So that means what? You're gonna need a man that at least has yourself kind of together. And depending on how important that is to you, you're willing to sacrifice some other stuff that you may not get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I definitely agree with you. And I think that we don't think about that. But I think that me now, I'm in that mode of thinking about that, because when I tell you this African man has really changed my view, like I'm
Oh,
just like, just his language, his language, like he has talked about that. He's like, I don't want my woman to have to be the breadwinner or any, and I'm just like, it's only been a couple of weeks, but when I tell you, I have not had to think about anything when I'm with him. I don't think about anything. Like I don't think about driving. I don't think about he's like, no, I will come get you. And I'm just like, this is the life.
right, right, right.
I'm like, for real. He's like, did you eat? Did you eat already? Did you eat dinner? I'm like, no. He's like, what do you want? I'm like, you know, and I said, I don't want to tarnish my African American brothers, but I'm just like, ooh, I don't know if I'll go back.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if I would ever go back. And I think that I was trying to explain to him, as Black women, sometimes being raised by single Black mothers, we become very independent. We become too independent. And I'm reading more and researching more on operating in my feminine energy. And I realized, like, all this time and the people that I've dated and even being in my marriage, I was walking around with that masculine energy, like, okay, well, you can't do it. Let me do it. Let me, let me put on all this stuff on my back and let me carry it. But this is the first time in a very long time that I'm just like, I don't have to do nothing. Like, I don't have to do
Yeah.
nothing. I just be me. And like, like today I saw him and he was like, well, what do you want for lunch? I'm like, man, this is the life.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I feel like women weren't put here to really work as hard as, unfortunately, you've had to work and carry the load that you've had to carry. However, I'll say this, I don't think, like you said, women are being raised to be independent. So I don't think they have those natural qualities that men that look for, especially men that are successful like myself. I don't care about certain things that the hood guy cares about. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
I'm looking for your ability to show me that you can be a great wife and a great mother, right? And
Mhm.
those are but see, if you independent, you thinking about yourself and you think you're trying to play my role.
Exactly.
I don't need you to play my role. I need you to sit over him. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they're missing those qualities that a lot of guys are looking for, because I'm gonna show you how powerful those qualities are. You take some of these NBA and NFL players, these girls are not looking like these Instagram models and stuff. They're very simple women. You look at LeBron James' wife, Savannah James, these girls are looking just like regular girls, but they have those qualities, because we need that. We
Yeah.
need that. In order for me to go do what I need to do, I'm gonna need to have that. And
Yeah.
that's what's missing. So when I don't see that, I'm like, well, how can I build? She got all these degrees with all this money, but as we get older, and if I'm paying the bills and you done spent all your years getting these degrees and you got all this money, well, what you gonna do with that money? Because I don't need, you're not gonna help pay the bills. I got them.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
what you spend all that time going to school for, and all this, this thing, what was the purpose of it? You know what I'm
Ooh,
saying? Because
that's a good one. That's a good one.
hey, what was the purpose of it? You ain't helping me. You got all this money. That more money for you to go shop and for you to, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I just think if you know what kind of man you're looking for and you work on the qualities early on, get those qualities early on, because I'm telling you what, it's not as easy as a lot of women may think for men to find that kind of woman nowadays. Just like it's
Yeah.
hard for y'all, it's hard for us
It's
to find.
hard for y'all
She
too.
ain't,
Yeah,
you're like,
it
she
is.
ain't got it. Now, if you're just looking for a little Instagram model or something, they out there,
Yeah.
but the ones that actually got the natural qualities, that actually understand what being a wife means and how to make
Hmm.
his day better and not stress him out, and like be a helpmate, right? Oh,
Yeah.
that That ain't not the
But
only thing.
that's not being taught. That's not being taught. And even to like me at my age, it's still not being taught. It's
Right.
me wanting to seek those things out and tap into some of those things, because I'm like, I was like, it gotta be a better way. I was like, it gotta be a better way. And it was so crazy for me. Before I met the African guy, I said, I cut everybody off. Like, text me and say, hey, how you doing? But no, you can't come over. No, I don't want to see you. I really don't want to be bothered, not giving you no energy. And I said, until I meet a man who does something, like gets to know me in here and really, really just like shows me something more, I was like, I don't want to be bothered. And when he came along, I was kind of like, I don't know. But I said I had to open my mind. And I was like, everything ain't gonna come in the same package, the same. And
Right.
I was like, you've been doing the same thing, dating the same type of guys. I was like, just step out. And I just stepped out, and I'm just like, it's scary, because I'm just like, I'm actually like happy dating him, but I'm just like, I don't know where it will go, but
Right.
I'm learning to try to operate in more of a woman that he would be more attracted to, as far as, leaving that masculine energy at home.
Right. Right.
Leaving that
Right.
masculine
Yeah.
energy, and leaving that, like, the first night when he came to pick me up, and he got out the car and went around and opened the door, that shouldn't have awed me, but it did. Right? That
Yeah.
it did. It awed me. I was like, took him back. And then when it became a repeat thing, I was like, oh, this is who he really is. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, so being the woman who now is so used to being masculine, and knowing that, okay, when we stop and we get out the car, he's gonna stop and he's gonna come around, instead of being so quick for me to, the masculine side of me wants to jump out and, oh, I got it, But now I'm
Right.
just like, okay, just wait for him to, and it's a lot
Right.
to learn. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
it really is, and that's a mouthful that you put out there, because I've taken girls out on dates, and we may go to a real nice restaurant. I'm talking real nice, and I can tell that they can't tell the difference between the forks. Which fork is which. I can tell that they're not used to being in this type of environment, which
Environment.
is which is which is sometimes a concern for me, because if you're not used to dating a guy like me, then how do I know that you know how to keep a guy like me happy? You see what I'm saying? So you spoke about it just now, that you're learning, you know what I'm saying, and you're open, right? Because
Hmm.
sometimes that scares women, right? I've tried to open doors before, like you said, I got it, right? Or I try to take the trash out. No, I got it. Like, they'll argue you down, right? And I think some of it is they're not used to it, and I think some of it they're afraid to relying on that service, because once I think it's going to be consistent, and then all of a sudden, it's gone. And I done
That's
kind of
true
got,
too.
I done kind of start looking forward to it, and you ain't doing it no more. So it's a little bit of both. And but yeah, you spoke a mouthful, because if you're not used to seeing it, sometimes I'll ask questions. Right.
Yeah.
Why you asking me all these questions? And it's a turn off to me, because I'm like, well, what else
How
am
am
I
I going to
supposed
get
to
to
do?
know you?
How am I
Yeah.
gonna get? But that's not what they're used to, and it tells me instantly, like, she's not used to dating guys that actually care more about than just one thing, right? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get that wall down in order to even try to get to know her, because this is what she's been used to, versus it being an expectation.
Yeah, definitely. But I think, like you said, like that conversation piece of asking questions and different things. The one thing that I found in this man is my interest. Like, I don't want to say I'm nerdy, but I love to watch documentaries. I love real life, like the reality shows and stuff. I could do without that stuff. I want to know what's really going on in the world. And
Right.
so me and him could sit and we could talk about different things. And him being from Africa, it just awes me, because I so love being black. So it's
Absolutely.
just So it's just like when we talk, and like today, I was like, teach me something in African, teach me some African words, teach me some of your
Okay.
language.
Okay.
And that, for him, now he's met a woman who's interested in him, instead
Right.
of it being so one-sided and a woman just, oh, get to know me, get to know me. I'm trying to get to know him. And I'm like, tell me about your country. Or I could tell him things that I've researched since meeting him. And I'll be like, well, what is the value of the American dollar over in your country? And, so last night, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about, oh, he was like, well, it's one US dollar would be $50 in my country. And it's just exciting.
Wow.
But it's like, just trying to just not be, I don't want to be too happy about it. That's the funny thing. So it goes back to the don't take my trash out, don't open
Let
my,
down.
because you don't want to be let down. And I think that Black women, we've been let down so much, and I think that I tell anybody, the first man that let me down was my father. So that step, that put this, how you gonna treat me better than the man who brought me into the world? You know what I'm saying? So that puts me in that place. But now I have to open up my mind and know that there are great men out here. And you know, I'm very excited about it, but when I tell you that my heart is still like, don't, like a wet floor sign is there.
Right. Right.
Very careful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
Be
listen,
very careful.
I definitely appreciate you sharing everything with us. Definitely learned a lot. That's going to be the purpose of this channel. Just trying to get. I think really, as much as I want to help men and women, I think if we can get more women to share their experiences on dating after being married, because it's like we're learning on the back end. So if we can get more younger women to talk to women who have been there, done that already, outside of their mom and sister them, it's just like you got single women listening to single women, right? But you want somebody who's actually had that experience. If she's single, at least she has the experience and she knows some of the mistakes she made, or she know what she did not
Yeah,
do. So you don't have to go make
definitely.
those same mistakes. So I
Yeah,
definitely
definitely.
appreciate that. And I think that's gonna wrap it up for the day. I
Okay,
think
well, I enjoyed myself. I really enjoyed you.
I
I would
enjoyed you.
love to be a part of, any conversations like this. It was a pleasure because
Yeah, we have to get
I have so much to say when it comes when it comes to men, women, dating, life.
yeah, we'll have to get you back on. If not with you and your future, future man, right? Definitely get you back on by yourself. And this isn't going anywhere. We're gonna continue this going. So,
Okay,
definitely I thank you for your time and
okay.
thank you for your insight.
Oh, you're welcome. Not a problem. Not a problem. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Well, you enjoy the rest of your night.
Okay, you too. You have a
And
great night, okay?
all right, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
All right.